Good morning. Today is July 3rd, 2020. I've been living in Morocco since January and all through quarantine, and now I'm here for whatever happens next. Quarantine has in fact ended in most of Morocco as the virus has been subdued in most of the country. Though I didn't opt to take one of the very expensive evacuation flights that are occasionally scheduled, I still decided to move once quarantine was lifted. So rather than head home, I just moved to a different neighborhood in Ouarzazate from Tijka to Sidi Daoud. I was able to find this unfurnished apartment in Sidi Daoud for $80 a month. This is a little less than a third of what I was paying for the apartment in Tijka. My first apartment was practical in that it had everything I needed and I could move in right away. However, I prefer less things and more space, and this second apartment fits both of those criteria. Also, the new apartment has a full roof, which I'm excited to grow a garden on. And it has this nice traditional ceiling. Before moving out of my last apartment, I came across these beams which solve the question of flat roof construction in modern building here in Morocco. Also, I'm planning to do a second architecture edition in the blog because there's a lot of interesting things that I've noticed lately that I'll have to talk about. I also moved out right around the time that the young storks were beginning to fly, so symbolically this felt like a good time to move on. In other bird news, I became friends with the sparrow at my old house, but in the end I had to say goodbye and also say goodbye to the gecko that lived there. In the new apartment, there are a couple sparrows that hang out here on occasion and are always welcome. Help get rid of the flies. There is also a gecko that goes between my apartment and the other apartments in this area. It's very large and so far it's managed to elude the camera, but I call it the wall crocodile and hopefully we'll be able to feature it on the blog soon. The apartment in general is nice and it has a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, as well as a living room / study, and then this central room with stairs that go up to the roof. My clothes are here and these shelves are for video equipment, and these shelves are for everything else. For the kitchen, I purchased a refrigerator with an internal freezer and this 2-burner gas stove, which is hooked up to a gas can down here. The toilet is not fancy, but I've gotten used to it, and all around I think I've learned to stay cleaner than I did in my previous apartment. Water is medium temperature in the morning, runs dry around midday when people are doing laundry, and then it's piping hot in the afternoon. Also, I got this washing machine which I use to wash clothes, but in general I try to conserve water because water is life, and that's pretty apparent when you're living in the desert. Sidi Daoud is an old neighborhood with thin streets and a lot of big families. In the little alcove in the block where my apartment is, most of the people here are part of a large extended family, and in fact right next to me is a house with like I think 30 people. It's like a collection of families, an extended family, and their house is actually pretty big and it goes back into the block in different directions, but all of this construction is a little hard to figure out exactly what's going on without walking around inside of some of these houses. So it's really interesting. So with a big family, it's noisy, but in a good way, and I come from a big family, so I'm used to that. And the people are really nice. My neighbors have invited me to dinner a few times, and some neighbors were giving me bottles of cold water before I had my fridge set up. And in general, I would say my life has been getting easier as I adapt to the prospect of living here indefinitely. People sometimes ask me about my plans for the future, And this is always a little hard to explain because I don't make linear plans, I make contingency plans. But I am hoping to win an Oscar in 5 years, so that's one thing. In general, moving to the new apartment took a lot of time, but I'm really glad to be at a place where I can be making videos again. Though at times it can be hard to maintain focus, it's always important to remember that the present is a great time to get back to doing what you love. I did take a walk out into the farms early one morning a few weeks ago. On the edge of town, I came across an old bakery, and the women inside beckoned for me to come inside and check it out. I ducked inside and just sat where they indicated I should, and then I just recorded while they were making bread and were also making jokes about who I might live happily ever after with. And then after a while it was time for me to continue on my walk, so I said shukran and walked on. I am doing some planning for an upcoming camping trip, so with any luck I'll be able to share with you a longer video about the nature in the area soon. Also, my friend Hamid has a new single in the works, and so rumor has it there'll be a new music video as well. So these are the more recent developments in my life. Other than that, mostly just trying to stay cool because the temperature has been around 40 degrees every day Celsius. That's over 100 Fahrenheit every day. However, one of my friends and I realized that if you just cry a lot, this will cool you down, but don't forget to drink water. Oh, also, I almost forgot to mention, I found a book in English. It's called The Second Foundation, and it's a sci-fi book. I've never read sci-fi before, but I don't have a lot of options. All my friends here were born and raised in Ouarzazate, because most people went to their hometown for quarantine. So finding books in English in general is not easy. If I could read Arabic or French, I'd be in luck, but as it is, this is my option. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more of my videos, just check out my channel and feel free to subscribe. Thanks.